Welcome to Delray National Park, America's first remediation national park that acknowledges past environmental injustices and empowers the community as stewards of their own climate-resilient futures. The Delray neighborhood has a rich and difficult history. Delray is located in southwest Detroit, Michigan, and is at the confluence of the Detroit and Rouge rivers. This beautiful, resource-rich location attracted early mound-building peoples and later many tribes that were forcibly removed to make way for rail and industry. Industry built Delray up to a peak population of 30,000 people in the 1930s. Since then, people have been leaving Delray following outsourcing of industry and jobs, redlining, the construction of I-75, which severed Delray from Detroit, and white flight in the late 1960s. Today, fewer than 2,500 residents remain in Delray. In recent years, there's been an increased interest in Delray with the current construction of the Gordie Howe International Bridge. Past and current industrial operations in and south of Delray, combined with its proximity to I-75, have resulted in high levels of sulfur dioxide, particulate matter, and other airborne pollutants, resulting in high rates of cancer and respiratory illness. Current Delray residents are mostly Black and Hispanic, and many are below the poverty line. Delray residents have limited access to essential services, as Delray has no grocery stores, schools, libraries, or medical facilities. On top of current stressors, this vulnerable community will be disproportionately affected by climate change, which is predicted to cause an increase in extreme heat and precipitation. Despite this, Delray residents believe it is a good neighborhood and they want to stay. With this in mind, my goals for this project were to find design solutions that protect and empower residents who want to stay and to remediate industrial legacies with natural process. These interventions will be staged over a 50-year period and include layered systems of pollution buffers, community and public space, biofuel production, wildlife habitat, and migratory paths for birds and people. Stage 1 and 2 focus on the neighborhood interventions that are needed now to help combat environmental injustice and prepare the neighborhood for climate change. Stage 3 is remediation of an industrial past, and Stage 4 is building biodiversity. The pollution barrier is an idea to build a linear barrier to intercept dust and particulate matter in the air before reaching the residential core. This strategy takes advantage of vacant parcels and right-of-way corridors to intercept airborne pollutants. Here I imagined a shipping crate barrier with an interior water mist system. Polluted air flows through, water vapor attaches to the particulate matter and pulls it out of the air. The contaminated water then settles in an underground tank, and clean water can recirculate, creating a closed system. A mixed tree planting is incorporated, which helps to intercept pollutants outside of the barrier. Stage 2 is creating flexible neighborhood spaces to provide a place for essential mobile services. Here I've identified groups of vacant parcels, 7 lots wide by 2 lots deep, to create a drive-in parking area with gathering space and comfortable, safe queuing lines with benches, shade trees, and tidy stormwater basins. I imagine the space could host a mobile medical facility, food trucks, food distribution, or a mobile hairstylist, all within 5-minute walking distance for residents. Increasing residents' access to essential services, protecting residents from airborne pollutants, and building more climate-resilient spaces will alleviate many burdens and demonstrate an investment in residents' well-being, a good first step for building support for the national park. Stage 3 is remediating Zug Island. Zug Island is the former home of U.S. Steel, shut down earlier this year. This is a bleak landscape, about a square mile in size. Here you see different use areas, each with a different cocktail of contaminants. In the back of the photo, along the Detroit River, you can see the steel mill and coking plant. This area has organic petroleum contaminants as well as heavy metals, including iron, arsenic, lead, and zinc. In the foreground are black piles of slag, a byproduct of the steelmaking process. A remediation this extensive will be expedited by the growing attention and new funding brought by the national park status. Different remediation strategies can be applied based on pollutant type and concentration. Recognizing that most metals can't be broken down, the focus is on preventing metals from leaching off-site. The most contaminated areas are scraped of surface soil, which then builds topography on-site. Plant-based phytoremediation strategies can then be used to cap metal-contaminated soil and break down organic pollutants. In 50 years, when pollutant levels are lower, wildlife and people can return to Zug Island. Proposed remediation methods bring multifunctional benefits. By using plants to heal the site, this design increases evapotranspiration, reduces urban heat island effect, and eventually offers a place for wildlife and people to enjoy as a public national park. The vegetation mat is densely planted to stabilize soil, and metal-excluding plants like heather and California poppy can offer safe pollen and nectar for pollinators. A capped surface flow wetland cleans on-site runoff. The poplar biofuel planting remediates organic contaminants in the soil while providing regenerating income. Eventually, habitat can be created for threatened common terns, and existing railways could become recreation and wildlife observation tunnels. With decades of dedicated federal funding and care from park stewards, Zug could one day be a safe place that stops polluting Delray and instead becomes a source of pride for Delray. The industrial history, a dark artifact eclipsed by a bright future. In 2070, Delray National Park offers new green industry, phytoremediation demonstrations, experimental wildlife habitat, and recreation opportunities. The mixed-age poplar biofuel planting and fees from the Gordie Howe Toll Bridge fund remediation and land management led by local residents. The mixed vegetation buffers particulate matter pollution, but also attracts birds throughout the year. Post-industrial ground substrate is mostly concrete and alkaline soils, a great opportunity to try creating a primary bedrock habitat with plants well adapted to sidewalk cracks and thin soils. Nesting structures for osprey and cobble spawning beds for sturgeon welcome Detroit River wildlife. Recreational opportunities like hiking, fishing, and bird watching are ample. In 2070, Delray National Park redefines federal public land management and envisions a community-driven, climate-resilient future for all Rust Belt cities. Thank you.